Seneca once said, "We shouldn't control anger, but destroy it entirely." For what control is there for something fundamentally wicked? Welcome to Stoic Quotes 365, your daily source of wisdom from the ancient Stoics to help you navigate modern life. Today, let's explore a profound insight from the great Roman philosopher Seneca. He believed that rather than merely controlling our anger, we should strive to eliminate it completely, as it is inherently destructive. Lucius Annius Seneca, famed for his philosophical writings and dramatic plays, served as a mentor to Emperor Nero. He viewed anger as a fleeting madness that, regardless of its justification, undermines our mental clarity. In his seminal work De Ira, on anger, Seneca dissected the nature of anger within the Stoic philosophy and shared invaluable strategies for its prevention and control. Join us as we uncover 10 practical techniques inspired by Seneca's timeless teachings to help us master our anger and lead a more serene life. Number 1. Recognize that anger is destructive. Seneca advises, we shall prevent ourselves from becoming angry if we repeatedly place before our eyes all anger's faults and form a proper judgment of it. The first step in dealing with anger is recognizing how problematic this emotion is. By consistently reminding ourselves of anger's detrimental effects, we can form a rational judgment and steer clear of its influence. Many people, influenced by Aristotle's philosophy, believe that anger isn't always harmful and can be justified when expressed appropriately. They argue that virtue lies in finding a balanced path between extremes. For instance, they suggest that good temper is a virtuous middle ground between excessive anger and a deficiency of spirit. This viewpoint asserts that moderate, contextually appropriate anger can sometimes be virtuous. Imagine a scenario where a parent feels anger towards their child's misbehavior. According to Aristotle, a moderate response might be justified to correct the child. However, the Stoic perspective, particularly Seneca's, rejects the notion that any degree of anger can be beneficial. For the Stoics, anger is entirely unnatural because it is irrational and disruptive to societal harmony. Human beings are rational and social creatures. Living in accordance with nature means applying reason to our social interactions. Since anger is irrational and harms societal bonds, it is deemed unnatural and a vice with very few, if any, exceptions. Seneca emphasizes that anger makes you a slave. When we succumb to anger, we become slaves to this emotion. It clouds our judgment, leading us to make regrettable mistakes. For example, reacting angrily to a minor inconvenience at work might lead to lashing out at a colleague or making hasty decisions that damage professional relationships. Anger narrows our vision, blinding us to future consequences and subjugating our rational selves. It makes us act in ways that provide short-term gratification but conflict with our long-term goals, like maintaining a peaceful work environment. Furthermore, anger cannot be slowed down. According to Seneca, anger is a binary emotion with a powerful forward momentum that distinguishes it from other feelings. The moment we recognize our anger, we are already under its control. Imagine a heated argument escalating uncontrollably because of anger's intense grip. When anger takes over, it propels us headlong into destruction and chaos, disregarding any alternative action. This can be seen in road rage incidents where individuals, driven by anger, engage in reckless driving that endangers themselves and others. Seneca also observes that anger is contagious. It has a unique ability to spread through social groups, often resulting in mob-like behavior. When anger infects a group, individuals become part of a larger, angry entity, working together with a unified vision of chaos. This phenomenon is evident in riots or protests that turn violent, where collective anger amplifies destructive actions. In a social setting, one person's anger can easily influence others, leading to a collective loss of reason and an escalation of conflict. Understanding the destructive nature of anger is just the beginning. To truly free ourselves from its grip, we must diminish our attachment to this emotion. Merely pushing anger away or disliking it is not enough. We need to aim for an ultimate goal, which, according to Stoic philosophy, is the attainment of tranquility, a state of inner peace and quiet. By striving for tranquility, we replace the destructive force of anger with a serene and rational approach to life's challenges. Consider a scenario where a person receives criticism at work. Instead of reacting with anger, they can choose a calm and rational response, recognizing the criticism as an opportunity for growth. This preserves their mental clarity and professional relationships, demonstrating the power of tranquility over anger. Similarly, a parent who approaches a child's misbehavior with patience and reason, rather than anger, guides the child constructively while maintaining their own peace of mind. In summary, by acknowledging the destructive nature of anger and striving for tranquility, we can lead more harmonious and rational lives. Seneca's teachings remind us that true strength lies not in expressing anger, but in mastering it and embracing a life of reason and peace. Number 2. Recognize your anger triggers and learn to control them. Seneca wisely advises, and so the best course is to treat the sickness as soon as it becomes apparent, that time as well, giving oneself the least freedom of speech and curbing emotion. Being mindful of our anger triggers is essential. By identifying the events and situations that provoke anger, we can prepare ourselves to respond more effectively. Practicing mindfulness allows us to detect not only the broad patterns that trigger our anger, but also the specific thoughts that lead to this intense emotion. Imagine you're in a queue, and someone cuts in front of you. This unfair treatment can instantly trigger anger. Or consider the scenario where your boss gives you an inaccurate evaluation at work, causing frustration and resentment. These are common anger triggers, and recognizing them can help us manage our reactions better. Another common trigger is responding to time pressures and frustrations, such as leaving a bit late for work and running into traffic or receiving distracting texts while working. By being aware of these triggers, we can take proactive steps, like leaving earlier or setting boundaries for work hours, to mitigate their impact. For example, a person who often gets angry when running late might plan to leave home a bit earlier, reducing the likelihood of encountering traffic and the frustration that comes with it. Experiencing dishonesty or disappointment, such as a partner cheating or a boss failing to give you the promised raise, can also trigger anger. By being mindful of these potential triggers, you can prepare yourself emotionally to handle such situations with greater composure. If you anticipate that certain events might cause you to feel betrayed or let down, practicing mindfulness can help you maintain your cool and respond rationally. Consider facing prejudice or discrimination. These experiences are deeply hurtful and can provoke intense anger. By acknowledging these triggers, we can practice responses that uphold our dignity without succumbing to destructive rage. Encountering threats to self-esteem, like receiving a bad grade or getting rejected, can be similarly managed through mindfulness. Recognizing these triggers helps us to remain calm and rational, avoiding actions we might regret later. For instance, a student who receives a disappointing grade might initially feel anger toward the professor. However, by taking a step back and analyzing the situation calmly, they can focus on improving their performance instead of harboring resentment. Physical threats or violence, such as being mugged or experiencing domestic violence, understandably trigger fear and anger. While these situations require immediate action for safety, being mindful of how we process and respond to these events is crucial for our long-term well-being. For example, someone who has experienced an attack might seek therapy or support to manage their anger and prevent it from affecting their daily life negatively. Anticipating the possibility of anger enhances our ability to express it constructively. The more mindful we become about our anger, the more we can slow it down in its earliest stages, preventing it from controlling us. By practicing mindfulness, we'll not only be able to detect the macro patterns that trigger our anger, but also see the specific thoughts that arise and lead to that emotion of anger. This ability to catch and neutralize anger early on can significantly improve our emotional well-being and interpersonal relationships. Number 3. Just wait. According to Seneca, the greatest cure for anger is to wait so that the initial passion it engenders may die down and the fog that shrouds the mind may subside or become less thick. Anger, if left unchecked, can cloud our judgment and lead us to make rash decisions. Seneca's advice is to wait, allowing the initial surge of anger to dissipate, restoring our clarity of thought. Imagine receiving a harsh email at work. Your first impulse might be to fire back an angry response. Instead, Seneca would suggest waiting, Take a day or two to cool off before replying. This pause gives you time to think clearly and respond more thoughtfully. Similarly, if you're in the middle of a heated argument, stepping away can prevent the situation from escalating further. Walking away, taking deep breaths, or engaging in a relaxing activity like reading or meditating can help you regain your composure. Physical activities, such as a walk or a bike ride, can also relieve tension and help you relax. The American Psychological Association recommends deep breathing as one of the fastest ways to reduce anger's intensity. Simple techniques like counting to 10 or repeating a calming phrase such as relax, let it go, take it easy, and also soothe angry feeling. Imagine a scenario where a person is about to send an angry email to a colleague. By waiting and reflecting, they might decide to rephrase their message more constructively, avoiding unnecessary conflict. Emotions, including anger, are transient. They do not last forever. By employing these strategies, we can control our anger and express our feelings in ways that are more beneficial to ourselves and others. This approach not only prevents regrettable actions, but also fosters a more peaceful and rational way of living. For example, if you're about to confront a friend over a disagreement, taking time to cool off first can lead to a more productive conversation. Anger can drive us to make decisions we regret, but waiting allows us to approach the situation with a clearer mind and a more constructive attitude. Engaging in activities you find relaxing, like yoga or listening to calming music, can further help in managing anger effectively. In essence, Seneca's teachings guide us to recognize our anger triggers, wait before reacting, and strive for tranquility. By incorporating these practices into our daily lives, we can master our emotions and navigate life's challenges with wisdom and composure. Number 4. Use art and music to calm the mind. Seneca teaches us that hot-tempered individuals should avoid tasks that are overly demanding or exhausting. Instead, the mind should be engaged in pleasurable arts that offer a sense of calm and refinement. According to Seneca, the mind should not occupy itself with hard tasks, but should be given over to pleasurable arts. Let it be calmed by reading poetry and charmed by the tales of history. If you're prone to frustration and anger, finding art or music that soothes you can be beneficial in your pursuit of a tranquil mind. In today's terms, this approach aligns with expressive therapy, a form of anger management that encourages creative expression to release built-up anger. Rather than holding in anger or letting it fester, expressive therapy promotes yelling, screaming, or pounding pillows to let out pent-up emotions. These pillows represent unresolved anger issues from the past. By using creative arts as a method of managing anger, expressive therapy, also known as creative arts therapy or expressive arts therapy, helps individuals heal through a combination of creative expression and the use of imagination. Imagine coming home after a stressful day at work. Instead of venting your anger on those around you, you could immerse yourself in painting or drawing. This activity not only distracts you from your anger, but also provides a creative outlet to express your emotion. Therapists often help identify anger triggers and unresolved anger issues during anger management counseling sessions or classes. Through expressive therapy, individuals learn to channel their anger into constructive activities. Music therapy, art therapy, dance therapy, drama therapy, and writing therapy are common forms of expressive therapy. Each of these can be tailored to individual preferences and needs. For instance, music is a universally loved art form capable of evoking strong emotional and physical reactions. It can make you feel more energetic, happy, or sad, depending on the type of music. When used as a form of expressive therapy for managing anger, music acts as a mood stabilizer. Imagine feeling angry and tense. Turning on your favorite soothing track can help you relax and stabilize your mood. Consider the example of someone feeling frustrated after a long day. Instead of lashing out, they might choose to write in a journal, expressing their thoughts and feelings on paper. This act of writing can provide a sense of relief and clarity, helping to dissipate the anger. Similarly, someone who enjoys dancing might turn on some music and dance their frustrations away, using physical movement to release emotional tension. Art and music are powerful tools for emotional regulation. By incorporating these into your routine, you can create a buffer against the stresses and triggers that provoke anger. For instance, After a heated argument, listening to calming music or reading poetry can help you regain your composure and prevent the anger from escalating further. In summary, Seneca's wisdom suggests that engaging in pleasurable arts, such as reading poetry, listening to music, or indulging in creative activities, can significantly help in managing and reducing anger. By integrating these practices into your life, you can achieve a more tranquil and balanced state of mind. Number 5. See yourself as an offender. Seneca advises us to put ourselves in the position of the person who is making us angry. He says, "It is an unjustified estimate of our own worth, causes our anger, and an unwillingness to put up with the treatment we would happily inflict on others." Trying to see yourself in others is a great exercise for how to deal with anger. When we get angry, typically outraged at the actions of others, yet in all likelihood, we've acted similarly at some point in our lives. For instance, imagine you're furious because someone cut you off in traffic. Instead of letting the anger consume you, consider the times you've accidentally done the same to others. Perhaps you were in a hurry or distracted. Realizing this helps to humanize the other driver and reduce your anger. Similarly, if a colleague at work speaks rudely to you, think back to a time when you might have been short-tempered or harsh with someone else, maybe because you were stressed or overwhelmed. By recalling your own imperfections and past mistakes, you can cultivate empathy and understanding. Seneca encourages us to ask ourselves, how many times have I acted badly? Have I ever acted violently? Have I ever said mean things to someone that I later regretted? Have I ever manipulated someone? These reflections can be humbling. They remind us that as humans, we all share more similarities than differences. We've all acted in regrettable ways, and later realized that our free will is often swayed by our passion. Take the example of a heated argument with a friend or family member. In the heat of the moment, it's easy to feel wronged and let anger take control. However, if you take a step back and recall times when you've been at fault or misunderstood, it becomes easier to approach the situation with patience and empathy. This shift in perspective can help de-escalate the conflict and pave the way for reconciliation. Another powerful exercise is to reflect on the times when you've been forgiven. Think about how it felt when someone extended grace and understanding to you despite your mistakes. This can inspire you to offer the same compassion to others, even when you're angry. For example, if a customer service representative is unhelpful, instead of reacting angrily, consider the pressures and challenges they might be facing. Have you ever had a bad day at work where you weren't at your best? This thought can help you respond with kindness instead of frustration. By consistently practicing this mindset, you cultivate a habit of empathy that can transform how you handle anger. You'll begin to see anger not as a justified reaction, but as an opportunity to practice patience and understanding. This doesn't mean excusing bad behavior, but rather recognizing that everyone is flawed and capable of mistakes. In summary, Seneca's wisdom teaches us to see ourselves in others, to reflect on our own imperfections, and to extend the same understanding and forgiveness that we hope to receive. By doing so, we can manage our anger more effectively and foster more harmonious relationships. Number 6. Heal rather than punish. Seneca asks us, how much better is it to heal a wrong than to avenge one? Vengeance takes considerable time and exposes us to many injuries, while only one causes resentment. We often feel anger longer than we feel hurt. When someone directs their anger towards us, it's common to want to take revenge, punish them for their wrongdoing. However, this approach usually perpetuates a cycle of anger and harm. Consider the example of a prison system. When someone breaks the law, the traditional approach is to punish them, hoping that the fear of punishment will deter future offenses. Unfortunately, this often backfires. Many people come out of prison as worse offenders than when they went in. This is because the system focuses on revenge rather than rehabilitation. In contrast, the most advanced prison systems in the world, such as those in Scandinavian countries, are based on the principle of reforming the criminal. These systems aim to improve the moral character of offenders and prepare them to rejoin society as productive members. By focusing on healing rather than punishing, these systems achieve better outcomes in preventing repeat offenses. This aligns perfectly with Seneca's belief that being angry at someone only adds further damage to the situation, while discretion and understanding allow healing and acknowledge the injustice without perpetuating harm. Imagine a situation where a colleague undermines you at work. The immediate reaction might be to retaliate or seek revenge by sabotaging their effort. However, adopting Seneca's approach means looking for ways to address the issue constructively. Instead of revenge, you could have a calm discussion with your colleague, seeking to understand their perspective and working towards a resolution. This not only diffuses the immediate anger, but also fosters a more positive and cooperative work environment. Consider the example of a personal relationship. If a friend or partner wrongs you, the instinctive reaction might be to hurt them back. However, focusing on healing rather than punishing can transform the dynamic. By addressing the hurt with empathy and a desire to mend the relationship, you put yourself in a position of strength and compassion. This approach not only heals the immediate wound but also strengthens the bond, preventing future conflict. The concept of healing over punishing can also be applied to parenting. If a child misbehaves, the typical response might be to punish them harshly. However, understanding the root cause of their behavior and addressing it with patience and guidance can be far more effective. For example, if a child acts out because they are feeling neglected, providing them with attention and support can correct the behavior more sustainably than punishment ever could. In broader societal contexts, this principle can guide policies and community actions. For instance, community programs that focus on rehabilitation for drug offenders rather than just punitive measures have shown greater success in reducing drug-related crimes. These programs recognize that healing underlying issues, such as addiction, is more effective in fostering long-term change than merely punishing the offense. Ultimately, Seneca's wisdom teaches us that the act of revenge carries connotations of anger, which is inherently destructive. If anger is bad, then the goal should be to rid ourselves of anger and not perpetuate it in others. By choosing to heal rather than punish, we not only break the cycle of anger and resentment, but also create a more just and compassionate world. In summary, Seneca's advice to heal rather than punish encourages us to focus on constructive solutions that foster understanding, empathy, and long-term positive change. This approach empowers us to transform conflicts into opportunities for growth and reconciliation, promoting a more peaceful and harmonious society. Number 7. Choose your friends wisely. Seneca advises, choose men who are honest, easygoing, and have self-control, sort who will not arouse your anger and yet will tolerate it. This ancient wisdom is echoed by modern research from social psychologist Dr. David McClelland of Harvard, who found that the people we habitually associate with determine as much as 95% of our success or failure in life. Seneca understood this truth thousands of years ago, recognizing that anger spreads faster than fire. If you know you're prone to anger, you should not surround yourself with friends who trigger that anger or provoke you. Consider the impact of having a friend who is constantly negative or confrontational. Their behavior can provoke you, leading to frequent bouts of anger and frustration. Imagine a scenario where a friend habitually criticizes you or engages in drama. This environment breeds negativity and can escalate your emotional responses. By contrast, a friend who is calm, supportive, and understanding helps you maintain your equilibrium, even in stressful situations. A provoker is someone who instigates reactions, whether they do so knowingly or subconsciously. This person could be a friend, a colleague, or even a family member. For example, a coworker who constantly makes sarcastic remarks can be just as damaging as someone who is overtly abusive. Their behavior can incite anger and disrupt your peace of mind. In such cases, it's crucial to recognize the provoker's influence and take steps to distance yourself from their negative impact. Many times, we feel a struggle to leave toxic relationships because we become accustomed to the person, even when their presence is harmful. It's important to maintain control over our lives and remember that the goal is to achieve tranquility of mind. This means cultivating happiness in all our relationships, including friendships and family ties. For instance, a family member frequently belittles you or creates conflict. Setting boundaries can help protect your emotional well-being. Seneca's advice to surround yourself with people who bring joy rather than misery is timeless. Reflect on your social circle. Are your friends uplifting, or do they create turbulence? Choose companions who inspire positivity and support your journey towards a peaceful and fulfilling life. For example, spending time with friends who encourage your goals and share your values can significantly enhance your overall happiness and reduce stress. Moreover, Seneca advises us to resist the urge to be overly curious if we want to keep a peaceful mind. Even if you're surrounded by the most amazing people, seeking out information that could cause despair can disturb your tranquility. Imagine you're curious about what a friend said about you or tempted to read your partner's private messages. This curiosity can lead to unnecessary pain and conflict. Instead, focus on maintaining trust and transparency in your relationships to preserve your peace of mind. Consider a scenario where you're tempted to check your partner's messages because of insecurity. This action can lead to misunderstandings and erode trust. Instead, fostering open communication and trust can prevent such situations and promote a healthier relationship dynamic. In summary, Seneca's wisdom teaches us to choose our friends wisely and to surround ourselves with those who contribute to our peace and happiness. By resisting harmful curiosity and focusing on nurturing positive relationships, we can maintain a tranquil and undisturbed mind. This approach not only enhances our emotional well-being, but also supports our journey towards a balanced and fulfilling life. Number 8. Don't seek reasons to be angry. Seneca reminds us, it makes you angry that a slave has answered you back, or a freedman or your wife, or a client. You then go on to complain that the state has been deprived of the freedom of which you have deprived those under your own roof. This observation highlights a common human tendency. We often give too much importance to ourselves and our expectations. In a world filled with comfort and luxury, we become accustomed to things going our way, which weakens our resilience and makes us thin-skinned. Consider how easily we get angry over minor inconveniences. We lose our temper when we misplace our keys, get cut off in traffic, or hear a joke that offends us. These small disruptions can ignite our anger because we feel entitled to a life free of such annoyances. However, these moments are an inevitable part of life, and reacting with anger every time our expectations aren't met ensures a perpetually angry existence. Imagine you're running late and someone cuts you off in traffic. The initial reaction might be to feel a surge of anger, blaming the other driver for your stress. However, if you step back and reflect, you might realize that you too have probably cut someone off at some point, perhaps unintentionally. Recognizing this commonality can help diffuse your anger. To handle daily anger triggers, the Stoics practice what they call negative visualization. This involves imagining the worst-case scenario and all the things that could go wrong. By preparing for the worst, they are ready for whatever may come, and they find gratitude in the absence of negative occurrence. For example, before an important meeting, a Stoic might visualize potential interruptions or challenges. This mental preparation helps them remain calm and composed when faced with actual difficulty. Negative visualization can be applied to various aspects of life. For instance, if you're worried about losing an important possession, imagine life without it. This practice helps build resilience and appreciation for what you have, rather than fostering anxiety over potential loss. When the feared event doesn't happen, you feel grateful. And if it does, you're mentally prepared to handle it without undue distress. Another practical example is dealing with challenging interactions. Suppose you have a difficult conversation ahead with a colleague or family member. By visualizing different outcomes, including the worst-case scenario, you can approach the conversation with a calm and prepared mindset. This reduces the likelihood of reacting with anger if the discussion doesn't go as planned. Seneca's wisdom encourages us not to seek reasons to be angry, but to seek reasons to be calm. Instead of focusing on what angers us, we should practice gratitude and recognize that many aspects of life are beyond our control. For instance, if a friend makes an inappropriate joke, instead of immediately reacting with anger, consider their intention and the context. They may not have meant to offend, and addressing it calmly can lead to a more constructive outcome. In summary, by adopting a Stoic mindset and practicing negative visualization, we can train ourselves to expect and accept the imperfections of life. This approach not only reduces our anger, but also helps us cultivate a more tranquil and resilient mind. By seeking reasons to remain calm rather than angry, we align ourselves with the Stoic goal of achieving a balanced and peaceful existence. Number 9. Use self-deprecating humor. Seneca asks us, what should a wise person do when given a blow? He suggests following the example of Cato, who when attacked did not fire up, seek revenge, or even return the blow, but simply ignored it. If we feel compelled to respond to an insult, the Stoics recommend engaging in self-deprecating humor. Seneca highlights Cato's use of humor to deflect a particularly grievous insult as a model to emulate. Cato was once pleading a case when his adversary, Lentulus, spat in his face. Instead of reacting with anger or a counter-insult, Cato calmly wiped off the spit and remarked, "I will swear to anyone, Lentulus, that people are wrong to say that you cannot use your mouth." This response turned a potentially humiliating situation into a moment of humor, disarming his opponent and preventing the insult from taking root in his psyche. Self-deprecating humor is a powerful tool. By turning an insult into a joke, we prevent it from causing us needless anguish. Imagine you're at a social gathering and someone makes a cutting remark about your appearance. Instead of letting the insult affect you, you could respond with a self-deprecating joke, such as, "You're right, I should probably avoid mirrors." This not only diffuses the situation, but also shows that you don't take the insult seriously, which can be deeply frustrating for the insulter. Consider a workplace scenario where a colleague criticizes your work in front of others. Instead of reacting defensively, you might say, "Well, I guess I've got a future in abstract art." This kind of humor can lighten the mood and demonstrate that you're not easily shaken by criticism. By laughing off an insult, we imply that we don't take the insult or the insulter seriously. This belittles them and denies them dominance over the situation. For instance, if someone mocks your choice of clothing, responding with, "Yes, I got it from the questionable decisions collection," can turn the insult into a shared joke, making the insulter's attempt seem trivial. This approach is particularly effective in public or high-pressure situations. If a speaker at a conference faces a heckler, using self-deprecating humor can neutralize the interruption and maintain the speaker's composure and authority. Quick-witted remark like, "Well, I see my biggest fan has arrived," can shift the audience's attention and diffuse the tension. The Stoics valued this form of humor because it aligns with their philosophy of maintaining inner tranquility. By not allowing external insults to disturb our peace, we cultivate resilience and emotional strength. Self-deprecating humor not only protects our dignity, but also enhances our ability to remain calm and composed in the face of provocation. In summary, Seneca's wisdom encourages us to use self-deprecating humor as a shield against insults. By turning potential slights into moments of levity, we protect ourselves from unnecessary pain and demonstrate a profound sense of self-assurance. This practice helps us maintain our composure and reinforces the Stoic principle of valuing inner tranquility over external validation. Number 10. Practice self-reflection. In our final quote from Seneca, he advises, "All our senses should be trained to acquire strength. They are by nature capable of endurance, provided that the mind, which it should be called daily to account for itself, does not persist in undermining them." Reflecting on your own character and actions enhances mindfulness and sensitivity towards your thoughts and the triggers of negative emotions. One effective method of self-reflection is keeping an anger journal. This tool helps you track your experiences with anger and identify patterns that contribute to your emotional responses. Imagine at the end of each day, you sit down to document situations that angered you. For instance, you might write about an argument with a coworker, noting what happened, what was provocative about the situation, and what thoughts went through your mind. On a scale of 0 to 100, you might rate your anger level, helping you gauge the intensity of your emotions. By maintaining this journal, you start to see recurring themes. Perhaps you notice that you frequently get angry when you feel undervalued at work. This insight can lead to actionable strategies, such as improving communication with your supervisor or seeking ways to assert your contributions more effectively. Consider a scenario where you're often angered by traffic delays. Writing about these incidents might reveal that the root of your anger is a feeling of being out of control. Recognizing this, you can develop coping strategies like leaving earlier, listening to calming music, or practicing deep breathing exercises during your commute. This proactive approach transforms a daily frustration into an opportunity for personal growth. The purpose of this diary is not just to record events, but to help you identify patterns of behavior and specific elements that consistently trigger your anger. For example, you might discover that you get particularly upset when plans change unexpectedly. With this awareness, you can work on becoming more adaptable and less rigid in your expectations. Daily self-reflection allows you to understand how you experience anger and to develop strategies for managing your emotions in more productive ways. Reflect on a time when you lost your temper during a family gathering. By analyzing the situation in your journal, you might realize that the underlying issue was a feeling of being disrespected. This insight can guide you to address these feelings constructively, perhaps by setting boundaries or expressing your needs calmly in the future. Seneca's wisdom encourages us to hold our minds accountable daily. Through regular self-reflection, we build mental strength and resilience. For example, if you notice a pattern of reacting angrily to criticism, you can work on embracing feedback as an opportunity for improvement rather than a personal attack. By practicing self-reflection, you gain greater control over your reactions and cultivate a more mindful and balanced approach to life's challenges. This practice aligns with the Stoic principle of achieving inner tranquility by understanding and mastering our emotions. In summary, self-reflection, as Seneca suggests, strengthens our senses and our mind. By regularly examining our actions and thoughts, we become more attuned to our emotional triggers and better equipped to handle them. Keeping an anger journal is a practical step towards this goal, helping us identify patterns and develop strategies for managing anger constructively. This process not only enhances our emotional well-being, but also supports our journey towards a more peaceful and fulfilled life. If you found value in this video, we invite you to explore our full Stoicism playlist, where you'll discover more insights to help you navigate life's challenges with ancient philosophical wisdom. For more content on Stoicism and practical advice for a fulfilling life, don't forget to subscribe to Stoic Quotes 365. Our channel is dedicated to bringing you daily wisdom and strategies from the Stoics, help you achieve success and happiness. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to stay calm, stay reflective, and stay stoic.